Welcome to the presentation about new learning spaces. Today we will be looking at 6 learning spaces: personal, liminal, classroom and school, beyond the classroom, group and cooperative, eSpace and online learning. The personal learning space. When comprehending the personal learning space, it might be interesting to look at Gardner's multiple intelligence theory. As teachers, understanding our own personal learning style can assist us in understanding how our students learn in their own personal learning space. But a challenge that may be present for teachers is actually identifying students' personal learning style, especially if they fall into multiple categories of Gardner's multiple intelligence theory, or doesn't have a particular obvious way of preferred learning. When students' personal learning space can be identified by one or more of Gardner's multiple intelligences, teachers have the power to differentiate lessons and individual tasks to suit each student. For students exploring the personal learning space, establishing how they learn can open up a lot of opportunities. For a student who lacks intrinsic motivation, it may be challenging for them to define their own learning space and continue to be self-efficient learners. However, once this challenge is overcome, the student may be pleasantly surprised by what they are capable of when they gain understanding of how they learn in their own personal learning space. When assisting students in identifying how they learn, it would be valuable to give them a multiple intelligence assessment to identify strengths and give students ways to use those strengths to support weaker areas. Mindset posters can be displayed around the classroom to encourage self-efficiency in students and promote positive mindsets. It would also be beneficial for students to personally reflect on how they complete a task using Bloom's taxonomy. The liminal learning space. For a teacher, having a student in the liminal space is an exciting prospect, as it means the student is on the brink of learning something new. However, guiding students through this space may prove to be challenging if a student is unsure of the content they are coming to terms with, as it can cause unease or even panic in some individuals. Students may find being in this liminal space unsettling and may withdraw with their involvement before becoming re-engaged, and the reconceptualization can take place. When a student can identify that they have been in the liminal space and have moved through with better understanding, their confidence as a learner grows and they are more willing to accept the process. The liminal space can be promoted with any strategy, activity, or resource that presents students with an alternative point of view. Using KWL, WALT, or WILF charts can support students when they are navigating through their own liminal space. The classroom and the school. Open plan classrooms allow the teacher to design the classroom to support their students' preferred way of learning. The way a teacher arranges the classroom can have a big impact on the personal learning space for the student. When teachers teach in an open plan classroom, the management of noise levels, student movement, and everyday procedures must be clear to students in order to get the most out of this learning space. For students in an open plan classroom, it can free them of the physical constraints of a traditional classroom. Students can work at a desk if they like, but they also have other options. With these physical constraints gone, group collaboration learning is more successful. However, for some students, particularly ones with learning difficulties, the open plan classroom may be overstimulating. In open plan classrooms, teachers work together in a team in order to teach students effectively. Procedures will be different to traditional classroom settings, but when executed appropriately, there are great benefits for the student's personal learning space. Beyond the classroom. For teachers, taking students out of the classroom for excursions and incursions can allow for some invaluable experiential learning, where classroom activities can be extended to real-life experiences. Finding the time to plan and implement these experiences may be difficult, but it's really worth the effort. When the challenge of cost and the fear of new environments can be overcome, and students get to attend planned excursions or incursions, their understanding in the classroom can be applied to real-life experiences. Students' ideas may be reconfigured when they are exploring the reality of an environment, and being in the liminal space is often an occurrence for students on excursions. In order for an excursion or an incursion to be a success, it is critical that you plan and prepare well in advance. A term to a year's worth of planning is advised. All teachers involved and executives of the school must also be aware well ahead of time. Group, collaborative and cooperative learning space. A challenge for teachers when it comes to the group learning space may be that less able students may rely too heavily on other students to get the work completed. This can be avoided by structuring activities to ensure all students are being assessed individually on their contribution. This is known as the cooperative learning space, giving all students the opportunities they need to succeed regardless of their ability. In group work, when the goal is to do something rather than learn something, a challenge for students may be that less capable students are seen as a hindrance to the success of the group. Again, this can be avoided by implementing more cooperative learning in the classroom, by setting learning goals rather than purely getting the students to complete tasks. Looking back at the personal space and multiple intelligences theory, the teacher could put students in groups where each individual has a strength in a different multiple intelligence and can use their strength in the group to contribute. Simultaneously, they can also gain understanding from others in an area that they may not be as strong in. The E-space or online learning space. iPads can be used to support students in tutoring, exploring, communication, and as a tool for educational purposes, and can promote collaborative and individual work, but it may be a challenge for teachers to ensure the use of iPads in the classroom is more transformative and not prosaic. Online professional development on social media is proving to be a wonderful tool for teachers, but there is a need for more structured content-specific forums. Using iPads in the classroom can extend what students can do in productive ways. However, unfortunately, many educational applications do not extend students and are just based on content consumption. iPads touchscreens allow for easy interaction, and iPads are reasonably affordable for students and their parents. Having iPads as a tool for students may be a cause for distraction, with some students using them for games instead of educational purposes. And close teacher monitoring of iPad use should occur at all times. Some strategies for engaging in the eSpace could be using web quests to guide students' internet searches, using online grading for feedback, and creating a class website to share announcements and individual achievements with students and their parents. It is of utmost importance to promote safe online behaviours and make sure students are aware of teacher expectations when engaging in the eSpace. By effectively using these 6 learning spaces, we can assure each child at the school is receiving a holistic and child-centred education.